Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Good evening, everybody. Positive vibes coming to you from Tiger Claw Radio. You're here in the middle of quarantine, playing some games, listening to some music, enjoying our time at home. Being safe, doing what we can. Quite a show this week. I'm going to talk about some scary movies a little bit later on. Some classic horror flicks that I watched over the past week. Not much of a movie guy, but a couple that I saw might be worth talking about. Gary's Mod 2 was teased on Twitter a little bit, so that's worth going over as well. Got some van casting, believe it or not, very briefly, you know. And some chiptunes. All right, so let's see what we got here in the chiptune department. All right, so this next one is from the Chip Wars compilation. Again, this is one I picked up off of Bandcamp just a little bit ago. It's a pretty awesome compilation of some pretty sweet chiptune tracks. Again, this is a free download if you want to look it up. Chip Wars, all one word, is the name of the compilation. This is Amplitude Problem, is the name of the artist, and we're playing Operation Sun Devil. Pretty sweet track. I think it goes well with the horror movie theme. Stick with us, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Back again in the studio. This is going to be a rarity right now during the lockdown, but believe it or not, I have just a wee bit of van casting to play for you. So let's set the Wayback Machine a few days and head over to the van. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Surprise, surprise. I didn't think I was going to have a Vancast for quite a while, but I am on my way to pick up dinner. In the state of Maryland, we have a mandatory lockdown. They are no longer... See, what did the mayor say? We're no longer asking people to stay home. Now we're enforcing it. So one of the only reasons you're allowed to leave the house now is for food. So I'm going to get some food now, and it honestly feels good to drive my car again. So video games. There was a meme, because that's how I like to get my video game news. It's through memes. Gary Newman posted a meme which suggested that he's been working on Gary's Mod 2 on Twitter. I don't know how long ago this happened, but this has been what people have been talking about past couple of days is the possibility of Gary's Mod 2. And I don't know, there's some people are saying, like, one opinion that I've seen reoccurring is that Gary's Mod was lightning in a bottle and they could never make it again. It could also be cool to see it done in a more modern engine. I'm personally of the opinion that what made Gary's Mod special is all of the things that users were able to do with it. So making a new Gary's Mod, in order for it to work, would have to somehow be backwards compatible. Like losing Trouble in Terrorist Town and losing all the crazy models that people have made. You know, a lot of those modders are gone now, or just not going to go back and visit their work again. Like, I made a couple of maps for Gary's Mod, and they're just real simple little maps, but if they made Gary's Mod 2 and I had to do like a bunch of technical nonsense to try and make those work in Gary's Mod 2, it just wouldn't happen. So that's two maps that would not make the jump. They would just be gone forever. So those two examples just in my collection of stuff, I mean, there'd be many, many, many examples like that in the Steam Workshop. So I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on it. I don't think it could be done again the same way it was. I think Gary's Mod had an openness and that really made it wonderful. It had sort of a freeness to it that you wouldn't find in Gary's Mod 2. Gary's Mod 2 would come out in a time which, by the way, Gary Newman was 100% for the monetization of individual mods. He was for that. So I think we would see that in a Gary's Mod 2. So get ready to pay $1.50 for whatever new ragdoll that you want to, flop around with in sandbox mode or what have you. Hey, do you like Trouble in Terrorist Town? Trouble in Terrorist Town's $3 now inside of Gary's Mod. You buy Gary's Mod and then you got to buy that. Just my thoughts. I've got a very cynical view of it, but also Gary's Mod was like the defining game of my college years. It really was. All of the time I sank into it, not just in Trouble in Terrorist Town, but I also remember goofing around like in cinema mode, where there was like movie theater and you would just wander around with a group of people and like watch YouTube videos. I saw a lot of like really big name YouTubers for the first time in cinema mode in Gary's Mod. That's the way I saw Filthy Frank for the first time. There's people would roll Filthy Frank videos in the Gary's Mod movie theater. I think I saw Markiplier for the first time that way too. Markiplier was doing his like Sonic EXE playthrough and I'd never seen him before. Saw that in Gary's Mod. So it was a big deal for me. I had a lot of fun playing Gary's Mod. I don't really play it anymore, and it's not because I've grown out of it or anything. It's just because Gary's Mod to me was an incredibly social game, and now when I get on the computer, if I'm going to play a game with people, I'm always looking for my boys. I'm looking for Alex Swingle to see if he's on. I'm looking for Darabka to see if he's on. I haven't felt the need to jump into a game with a bunch of randos and say what's up. Also, I think most recently Counter-Strike Global Offensive was the game I did that with. But it's good times. So that's my thoughts. I'm not saying I'm closed-minded to a Gary's Mod 2. If he puts out a second game, I'll certainly check it out. And as long as it doesn't seem too ridiculous, I would throw down and be a part of it. He made Rust, and Rust wasn't perfect, but it certainly had some great ideas behind it. So I know Gary Newman is a talented developer. He's a talented visionary. So you never know. Maybe he'll bring just. I think an ideal situation for a Gary's Mod 2 would be number one, an updated engine. Number two would be clear development tools to make it easier for development, like to build new modes and stuff. And then three, better workshop tools for making levels. Because I liked the Hammer level editor, but I found it really difficult to go through all the nonsense to get it uploaded to the workshop, and that stopped me from really developing my skill as a level builder. I think that a Gary's Mod 2 could have a lot of potential in sorting some of those things out. You know, little things that people added to the game later, they could make part of the game. Right? Maybe make more inbuilt multiplayer modes than just the sandbox mode. Not that there's anything wrong with sandbox mode. Oh, that's another real big one is the excuse me. The way workshop resources are shared in a multiplayer game. That's a big one too, right? It's like if me and the boys are going to play multiplayer in Gary's Mod, we've all got to figure out exactly what mods we're going to use, subscribe to the same ones on the workshop, and then only then can we jump into a game and all use the same mods. I don't know. I'm interested to see what he comes up with. I'm fully expecting at this point that there's going to be a curveball. There's going to be something that I don't like about it, and that's okay. It's going to be mods in the workshop are going to be monetized. Maybe when the game drops, it's going to have a $60 price tag. There's going to be something about it. Rust had that too. The thing that I didn't like about Rust was that you had your skin, and then that was generated randomly and tied to your account. So you could not change the way your character looked in Rust. It's very weird. It's a weird thing. And it's like some people thought it was like a bold design choice. It just seemed very weird to me. But, okay. That's just, I'm this random person in Rust, and that's just how I look, and there's nothing I can do about it. All right. That seems weird coming from the same guy who made Gary's Mod, a mod where you could make anything look like anything else. But whatever. So that's what's going on lately, and I am just now pulling up to the place where I'm going to get my food. And so I'm going to call them, and they're going to bring it out to my car, which I'm excited about because the future is now. All right, I have got my food, and I am on my way. So that's, what were we talking about? We were talking about Gary's Mod, and I think I was finishing up about that. I spent the morning, early morning, I spent my hour playing Resident Evil 5. Alright, goofing around with some Resident Evil. It's a comfortable game, it's familiar, I like it. I've beaten it many times, but I also have not 100%ed it, so I can go back to it and I can play it again, and I can still kind of discover some new things. Not much, but like I can work on maxing out all the guns and that sort of thing. The last time I experienced a game like this that I could equate it to was maybe River City Ransom, which I beat many times as a kid, but at one point I went back and played through it again, trying to max out all the stats. The real completionist sort of vibe to it. So I played through Resident Evil 5 on professional difficulty. And let me just say, I don't recommend it. Professional difficulty is locked by default, and for good reason. Not because, whoa, man, you really got to be hardcore to play in professional difficulty, but more like, whoa, man, this is awful. This is really imbalanced. Which I guess is the point. I mean, we had, when I was a kid, we had Doom and we had Wolfenstein 3D, and both of those games had extreme modes. You know, I'm Death Incarnate and Ultraviolence and Nightmare. And those modes were not fair. They were not balanced at all. So I kind of like the fact that they included something like that. But it was really weird. It's like the vast majority of the game was very playable, but the boss fights were just, oh my gosh. The boss fights were horrendous. One of the things about playing Resident Evil 5 in professional mode is if you get shot or if you get sliced hard at any time, then you're dead. If you get shot, you're dead. So there's something to that. That's like the realistic. It's like playing Resident Evil with Counter-Strike rules. You know what I mean? So it was okay. It was fun. I enjoyed it. The boss fights were just really bad, especially at the end. The worst part of the game was the boss fight where you first fight Wesker and he's with Jill, and Jill is like under his control. So I worked on that forever, and when I finally beat it, when you get like the stat breakdown page, it shows you how many times you died. 45 deaths against this boss. 45! I took a screenshot and I put it on my Steam profile just to show that really happened. And but I stuck it out. I got the achievement. And yeah, I think I'm done with Resident Evil 5 for a while, because when I finally defeated it in professional, there was no special thing that was unlocked. I didn't get anything, you know. I got my achievement, that's for sure. And that went in my achievement showcase, you better believe it. But I didn't like unlock any new mode or new filter or new costume or anything like that, which was really disappointing, because this is a game that has a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of new costumes that you can get doing different things in the game. There's different modes. There's different like camera filters. That's another thing that you can unlock. A lot of like cool unlockables. You know, little collectible figurines that don't do anything, but you can unlock them just for the sake of unlocking things. There wasn't anything like that. Really kind of feel like they dropped the ball on this one. But oh well. Oh well, what are you going to do? There's still more stuff to unlock in that game, though. I haven't maxed out all my weapons yet. I haven't maxed out all my weapons, and there's multiplayer achievements I still haven't gotten, so... I'm pushing 100 hours. Haven't quite got there yet. I think I crossed like 91 or 92 hours in that game at this point. So I will say 91 hours, and I haven't done everything in the game yet, so at least there's that. But man, I've beaten that a bunch of times now. Ready to play something else. Yeah. So the demo for Resident Evil Remake 3 is out now, and I have not played it. There's some contention going on what people think about Jill Valentine, because the model that they used for the face scanning of Jill Valentine is somebody completely different. So people are saying she doesn't look like the good old Jill that we knew, you know. And based on what I've seen, I don't know about that. I mean, she looks different. But if you compare all of the previous Resident Evil games that Jill Valentine has appeared in, she looks pretty different across the series. Like, her hair color changes at one point. I guess particularly in 5. She looks the most different in 5. She kind of looks like Samus Aran, or Aran, however you say her name. But yeah, so I think because of that, I find that a little bit easier to deal with. I don't have a problem with the fact that they changed the way she looked. Just make it good. I don't know. That's all I care about. And that being the most front and center prominent complaint that people had about the game is very promising to me. People are saying it's not as good. It's not going to be as good as Resident Evil Remake 2, but that's okay because that game was incredible. And if they can come close to that, then I think we'll be okay on this one. Yeah, so that's about it. Just that, and I'm playing some more Doom 64, which is still a fun game when I can. And that has been that's been my gaming for the past little bit now. And with that, boys and girls, I got my food and I'm back home, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna eat this food with my wife, and we're gonna have a good evening. I'm gonna send you guys back to the studio. I'll see you there. Back again in the studio. Man, it was great to get outside, but I've been enjoying the time off, to be perfectly honest. I've been enjoying the whole lockdown thing, being at home with my family. My youngest son is 7 months old now, so this is a great time to be home with him as much as possible. And we're just doing everything we can to stay healthy, which is great. Playing some games that I don't usually have time for, and I actually got to watch a couple of movies, which I usually don't watch movies. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, which believe it or not, I had never seen before. Never. And we're going to hear about that more in just a minute. But first, I want to take a minute to thank the sponsors. This is a Patreon-sponsored program, so we'll just take a quick minute to tip my hat to these individuals who give of their resources to make sure we can come back every week. So to them, I offer early access to the show. As soon as it gets done, it goes up for them. Everybody else, it goes up Monday morning. I offer occasionally supporter-exclusive content, podcasts, videos, whatever I can come up with goes up. A release or two a month, something there for you. And I read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen. They are Hemrock, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, Konstantin Kelman, and Eric Controller. Thank you guys so much, especially amidst all of the craziness that's been happening in our world lately. Thank you guys very much, and I hope you guys are enjoying the party. So, let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about some movies before we go back to the chiptunes. So, we're Netflix subscribers, and on Netflix, Netflix does this thing where when you're flicking around, it'll play like a scene from the movie that you have highlighted. And it can be a big pain, because a lot of times it'll start playing something when I want it to be quiet. But I was flipping around and it happened to play a scene from the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. Now, people hate this movie. That was not a well-received movie. I can't think of the actor's name, but it was the guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen. That's the guy who played Freddy Krueger. So I watched the scene. It didn't show a trailer. It showed, if you've ever seen the movie, it's the classroom scene where the girl falls asleep in the classroom. So I watched it, and I thought, hey man, it looks okay. I never saw any of the Robert Englund movies. So I wanted to watch it. So I got on the old computer, and I watched the 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was like, yeah, okay. People knock it. I don't know why. It seems like a good enough movie. I wouldn't call it a timeless classic by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a fun movie, So of course, having seen that, I had to go back and watch the 1984 movie at this point. I had to understand what the comparison. So a couple of things. It was missing a hearty dose of the 80s. There's something special about 80s scary movies that it's like maybe it's, I think it's the music, maybe, or maybe it's the idea of it's like anything you can think of, we can put it in a movie. And we're gonna have bugs falling out of a television set, and then the bugs come across the floor, and you know what I mean? It's just a preponderance of imagination, I think, is found in 80s movies, and I think that's what was lacking in the 2010 film, if you will. But it was fun. I had a good time. I had never seen a Freddy Krueger movie, so now I've seen a couple of them. So I think the age bracket that listens to this show, I think you were the kind of people who grew up, with Freddy and Jason and all those guys, and RoboCop. I think the first Nightmare on Elm Street is probably like prime time, like right in the sweet spot for our age bracket, if I'm not mistaken. So let me know what you guys think. Think back to the first time you saw Freddy Krueger, or a Freddy Krueger movie. What was that like? Because I remember watching part of the second movie, like as a child on television, like it was edited for television or something. So it was really weird. So I only remember like scattered bits and pieces about it. So I'll probably track down the second movie and watch that too at this point. But I remember like little bits and pieces about it. But I don't remember anything that happens. So that was cool. I don't know. It was fun to just, watch movies and enjoy movies for movies' sake, which is something I hadn't done in quite a long time. All right, but we're going to talk about some video games. But first, let's go back to our Chip Wars compilation for a quick chiptune. Okay, so this track is called Binary Beat, and it's from Occam's Laser. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Stick around. Back in the studio. My goodness. Good chip tunes this week. Feels real good, man. It's good, I don't know, what's the word? I want to say environment, but that doesn't sound right. Just feels good. Feels good, man. And that's what matters. So let's see what we got in the fail bag this week. Did we get anything from good old Hemrock? I don't think we did. I'm going to check right now. If you guys want to get in contact with me and have a word on the show, then if you know me personally, you can shoot me an email. Just let me know what I can and can't say on the air so that there's no issues there. Otherwise, you can head over to YouTube and leave some YouTube comments. So let's go to YouTube now. I think the fail bag might be a little slim this week. Let's see. Alright, so we got YouTube open, and then we'll head over to the studio. And the studio, of course, takes way more time to load than it should. I just want to go see text comments. It's like the simplest thing in the world. Okay. Comments. Here we go. Remove comments I haven't responded to. Yeah, here we go. Somebody left a comment on the Quake ReaperBot mod video that I made quite a long time ago. And he asked, would this mod happen to work with the original Team Fortress or 3-Wave? And unfortunately it doesn't. The Quake ReaperBot is a great mod. The guy who made the ReaperBot famously went on to make the AI for the bots in the Unreal series. Story of a modder that became a developer based off the ReaperBot mod. But the bots don't know how to work as a team. So there's no capture the flag or anything like that. You could load those mods along with the ReaperBot mod, and they would enter the game. But especially if you were playing like Team Fortress or something, they wouldn't know how to like pick a class. So it would just be stuck. But if you're a Quake fan, I highly recommend getting your hands on the ReaperBot mod. I know in MagFest, the LAN that they have set up to play Quake, 1 year they had it running the ReaperBot mod, so that if you showed up at the LAN and there was nobody there, then it would have other people free to play with. Okay, so this one's from Mecha Menace, and by the way, Mecha Menace, YouTube flagged this one as likely spam. So after I read this, I'm gonna have to approve it. Morrowind, the paradigm for puzzle games. Yes, I agree. Tiggs is dead. I don't keep track of these things anymore. But these are some of my bookmarks for the latest indie and freeware galleries. Wow, hold on a second. TIG source? Is it really? I'm going to look this up now. TIG source. Is it dead? Oh, wow, it is. The last update came in 2018. Oh, my goodness. How long has this been going on? And what's the last one before that? Is that dated as well? Oh, I guess they only update once a year. But that's like 2 years ago. What about the forums? Do the forums get used anymore? Today. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. You had me scared that like it had been shut down. A lot of good stuff came out of TIG source. But let's get back to the email. I don't keep track of these things anymore, but here's some of my bookmarks to the latest indie and freeware galleries. IndieRetroNews.com, IndieDB, and GameJolt. And Nitrodome.com. I spell out the last one since it's HTTP, not HTTPS. I believe YouTube puts those in a tab to be reviewed by the creator in the studio before they're visible. Also, I don't believe you get an email notification if the comment has links to unsecured sites. Let me know if you get an email notification for this comment. It could be that all comments with link to non-YouTube pages are hidden until allowed by their creator. Yeah, I think that's the case because this was hidden. By the way, even though TIGS hasn't updated in 2 years, it is still viewable. That means years of totally free games to dive into deep. As Garfield said, if I haven't seen it, it's new to me. TIG source. And he leaves the banner there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Open a new tab, open a new tab, open a new tab, open a new tab. And then we're gonna get this Nitrodome thing. Nitrome, play free games. Here we go. I've got all of these pages open now. And I will check them out at a later date. Yeah, because I used to do a lot with it's funny, Mecha Menace, because I did a lot of freeware games just out of necessity, because like I wanted to talk about the games that were hot at the time, but I couldn't because I didn't have the money. But consequently, I kind of became the freeware guy, and like I knew about freeware games. It was like a weird thing, but I kind of miss it. Like it's nice to be able to, like I have a huge Steam collection now that I didn't really have back then. Yeah, because I didn't have Steam. Wow, this is weird to think about. I did not have Steam when Tiger Claw Radio started. I didn't have it at all. The first time I heard about Steam was guest starring on Gooch and the Douchebag. We were talking about how to obtain Doom, because I didn't know how you would legally get your hands on a copy of Doom. And they mentioned that a Steam sale had been going on or something, so Doom had gone down to like $5 or something at the time. Because when I first got onto Steam, Doom was still regular price. Doom 1 by itself was regular price, $10. It's come down a little bit since then, but yeah, wow, things have changed quite a lot. I remember looking at my Steam collection early on and seeing 12 games, that was it, just 12, and thinking, wow, I've got so much to play. Oh my gosh. In my Steam collection, I've got 12 games. And I really did too. Those 12 games were like Quake. I bought QuakeCon. I bought Quake 2, Quake 3. I bought Magic the Gathering, which my computer couldn't run at the time. But it was like the original Duels of the Planeswalkers when it came out. And then like a puzzle pack of games. So it was like Quants, like some of those like a match 3 type game. I had some neat stuff. Yeah. Little did I know what I was unleashing upon myself. All right. Mecha Menace. Comment approved. Good to hear from you, brother. Hope your life is good. Hope you're staying healthy. Stay home as much as you can. Sometimes you gotta go out and get food, but just do whatever you can to minimize having to go out. And hopefully we'll make it to next year. All right, let's get back to published comments so we can see what actually made it through the spam filter. Whew. All right. Okay. Yay, here we go. Hemrock. Wow, Hemrock left a traditional YouTube comment. Man, oh man. All right. Does that mean he has a YouTube channel? I gotta check, Hemrock. I gotta look. Are you using YouTube again? Nope. No, he does not. 6 minutes in. Subway sandwiches at half price. Now you're talking. What happened to the $5 footlong? I'm voting for Dad's song this episode. Thanks, man. I remember the $5 footlong. I remember there was... I don't think I ever even once got a $5 footlong, but I remember the memes. My problem with Subway is that I like mushrooms, and Subway doesn't carry mushrooms. They don't carry mushrooms, presumably because they go bad too quickly. But if you go into a Subway and ask for mushrooms, or just ask, hey, do you guys carry mushrooms? They're going to get upset because they probably hear that a ton. So I don't think Subway sandwiches are terrible. Like, I strangely enough, I really enjoy eating Subway at MagFest, just because that's like the one time a year I have a Subway sandwich is at MagFest at that one Subway that's just down the street from the convention center. But I don't have Subway sandwiches when I'm going out. I mean, there's better places. We got a place called Jersey Mike's that makes a much better sub, for about the same amount of money. But let's read on. Glad you're able to install some Morrowind mods. How are they treating you? I love the Lighthouse. The fletching mod is a little wonky. You can get the fletching kit, but when you try and place it somewhere, it causes it to crash. Like there's no physical model for the fletching kit, so you can only like buy it and keep it in your inventory. But if you try and place it physically somewhere, then it makes problems. Yeah, I'm most impressed with the Lighthouse. That's my favorite. And then let's see what else he says. Thanks for the info on the tract. Yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about there. Yeah, the randos. I did kind of spoil our Warcraft 2 LAN game. I didn't realize those two guys were semi-pro Warcraft players. They were going to team up against us. Yeah, that sucked. But, what are you going to do? It's just like, I don't know, man. It was really brutal. It was like a Monopoly loss. You know what I mean? It was a loss that was like so hard. It's like I'm gonna flip the board over and all the pieces are gonna go everywhere. Because we played a couple of times, like once before and once after, at least with me and Darabka, and I lost those as well. I got last place in all of the games of that game. He says, 29 minutes and 6 seconds. You had it right. The show was called Bite Jacker, starring Anthony Carboni. And they had a recurring segment called Free Indie Rapid Fire. Maybe that rings a bell. Yeah, Bite Jacker. That was a good show. You told me about that show. What I remember the most about Bite Jacker was being excited for their video game to come out. And then the video game was free, which I thought was awesome. Yeah, it was a good show, man. 31 minutes in, he says, now I think they sell rechargeable batteries for the VMU. Keep dreaming. VMU was an awesome thing, man. I got to dig mine up because I tried to explain the VMU to Junior, and he wasn't having it. It's like, why would you play the little game when you have the big game? I don't know. He doesn't understand a time before cell phones. I think they gave you... I think I did give you Ark the Lad, End of Darkness for the PS2. Yep, yes indeed. It's pretty great. Any Suikoden updates by chance? In any case, no hurries, no worries. Quality over quickness. Doing the best I can. I've been unbelievably busy the past week or two. But I've made some progress. Made some real progress. I want to play the game more before I push any further. To be perfectly honest, I want to get deeper into the game. I have to redevelop my analysis. I don't want to make my analysis based off of what I remember from playing it years ago. That's what I'm avoiding with Suikoden. Because I already wrote that review. I think I read the script on the air at one point. Wanted to do some new stuff. But I'm still enjoying it. I'm gonna dust it off again, and we'll do some more Let's Play, so I can gather footage. 34 minutes in, MagFest 2002 was 2020 was better than MagFest 19, but TCR Fest would be better than MagFest 2020 and MagFest 19. That's a bold statement, my man. That is a bold statement. All right. I think this calls for like a logistical discussion. I'm not necessarily saying we will or we won't do it, but it would be worth it to figure out who's a plausible attendee for a TCR Fest. What city would it be held in? How much would it cost? And what would we bring with us? Those I think are the questions that we would have to ask. Because when I first started talking about this, it was like the game that got me to think of it was Dungeon Explorer for the TurboGrafx 16. Some sort of game that you can't really play anywhere else unless you've got a bunch of people there. That would be worth getting everyone together for. So Dungeon Explorer, I think, is the game for me. What about the rest of you guys? What game would you be willing to travel to a sleep-in the middle of nowhere to play with a group of people? Think about it. Really think about it as if it could be a reality. Because equipment could be purchased. Equipment could be shared. Thanks to Desm, I've got a Sega Saturn, and I've got 2 controllers. We could get a hold of a 6-player adapter. And some more equipment and do some Sega Saturn multi-tapping. Fine local multiplayer can be achieved. Put some thought into it. Let's see what we can come up with. 38 minutes and 19 seconds. A walkthrough of YY World. Nice. Thanks, Desmond. That's getting a thumbs up. Stay safe, my friend. You as well. You as well, man. I hope everything's going well with you and your folks. Stay inside. It's not just a meme. I know we play games, so it's like I feel like we're in more of a we're predisposed to handling this sort of thing well because we have this interest in video games, this interest in like a sedentary activity. But yeah, definitely take care of yourself because we've been doing exactly that. I'm exercising. I got the dumbbells out. I'm doing some sit-ups or some crunches. I'm trying to get a 2-minute plank, but I haven't quite got there yet because I'm kind of flabby. But I'm doing what I can to take care of myself while I'm staying inside. So as not to waste away. All right. Zinkso left a comment on my Raspberry Pi destruction video saying my left ear enjoyed this. That's pretty funny. Eric Controller says, thanks for continuing the show despite these troubled times. Looking forward to the day when the Vancasts make a return. Yes, my man, me as well. I had a little return to the Vancast this week in the realm of safety, safe travels. I was just going to a curbside pickup and then home. But yeah, I missed the Vancasts as well. With all the mod talk going on lately, I wanted to put a spotlight on an interesting mod I think you might be interested in. Have you ever played the old SNES and Genesis game Zombies Ate My Neighbors? There's a really cool total conversion mod on ModDB for Doom 2 that recreates Zombies Ate My Neighbors in first person. It's not finished yet, but it looks promising. I know there's literally too many games and mods being mentioned for you to check them all out, but if you or your listeners could give it a gander, it won't disappoint. Probably. And he's got a link to the Zombies Doomed My Neighbors mod. And I haven't played it yet, but I have seen it posted around. And it looks dope. It looks really good. All right, give me 1 second here. All right, we've just been joined by Junior. He's here, and he's making fun of me because, all right, I can't achieve a 2-minute plank, and he can. I'd like to point out that I'm 183 pounds, which, by the way, I'm very happy about because I used to be 216. And you're...
Are you really saying this on the air?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I'm a 36-year-old man, 183 pounds. I'm also 6 feet tall. That's not too bad. You're 50 pounds.
A little underweight.
Nah, you're fine. So we were talking about Eric Controller left a comment shining a light on this Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So this is a Doom mod. So I've shown you Doom before. So check this out. This is an old Super Nintendo game that was rebuilt in Doom. That's why it looks like this. I think it looks really cool. You kind of have to have played the original game in order to appreciate it. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors was a game where you played as these, like... I don't even know how to describe them. The kid with the 3D glasses and the red plastic gun. What? I want to say it was like an 80s thing or a 90s thing, but I really have no idea where the source material for this came from. But it's like a combination of like old scary movies, but then like repackaged so that kids could play it. So you just like would wander around town and like shoot at zombies, like little cartoon zombies. So that looks really cool, man. They've done some incredible things with Doom mods as well. I know I've talked about this here on the air before, but Eric, if you've never played it, there is... what is it called now? There was a mod where they rebuilt... They made a kart racing game in the Doom 2 engine. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog kart racing game. And it doesn't play like Doom at all. Like, it is a fully authentic racing kind of game that is really worth playing. Complete, and if you get yourself a copy of Xandronum, there's people playing it online. It's like one of the populated versions to play Doom online with. A lot of people playing that, and there's a lot of people playing the Mega Man 8-bit deathmatch, which I'm sure you've heard of by now if you're telling me about Doom mods. So that's really cool. Thank you for sending the link. I will check it out. If you want to see what he's talking about, head over to the YouTube channel. Check out the comments from last week's episode. Eric, my man, hope you're doing well. Staying healthy. Stay inside. Keep yourself in one piece. We'll catch up next week. Amexon says, how did you get... this is on the MS-DOS word processors. How the heck did you get DOSBox to load these programs? I don't know how to answer that, dude. I just... I even have a DOSBox tutorial on my YouTube channel. I don't know. You could maybe watch that. I don't know. Wasn't hard. I didn't. If you go back and watch that video. So here's the thing. My DOS videos, they did really well, but they have a very slow build. So this is what happens. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. Time to check the brownies. See if they're done. Roger. Alright, and we will return to talk about MS-DOS in a bit. Alright, are we all set? Okay, so my phone's going to go off in 10 minutes when it's time to get them. What were we talking about? Yes, MS-DOS. Yeah, so those videos have a real slow build. They don't get watched a lot out of the gate. But but consequently, even though this was done years ago, I still get comments every once in a while, which is awesome. But I don't know how to respond to that. So I don't know. Thanks for watching, I guess. Yeah, here we go. Death Adder says, your son is quickly becoming the Andy Richter to your Conan O'Brien. I'm playing the 360 version of Oblivion on the Xbox One. It is vanilla, other than the $2 DLC pack I bought to easily rid myself of vampirism. Oblivion is special to me since it was the first last-gen game I bought. I've been heavily considering playing Morrowind for the first time here lately, on console, obviously. So, Death Adder, a couple questions. So how would you play Morrowind on console? I know it's available for the original Xbox, but is it? Did they re-release it for is it like a game you can download or something? Hemrock is the authority on the Xbox version of Morrowind, but from what I understand, it's got some memory issues. In order to keep it from crashing, what was it he told me? There's a weird trick that you have to do to keep it from crashing, because the persistence of the world, every time you change the world somehow, it causes it to load a little bit more. So he would play, the way he handled it was he always closed doors behind him or something weird like that, and by not leaving doors open, it changed the world less and thus crashed less or something weird like that. It's very playable, but it has some weird thing like that. Hemrock, if you could chime in and let them know what it do, that would be good. But technical issues aside, Morrowind's a good game. It has absolutely, well, no, it doesn't. I was going to say it has zero voice acting. That's not true. It's got very little voice acting. The vast majority of the voice acting, a story is all done in text, which I think lends itself well to modding. It's easier to mod in quest trees and stuff like that to Morrowind, I think, than it is to some of the later games. But, whatever. I would recommend playing it. I think you're an individual who possesses the ability to enjoy a game like that. Yeah, Oblivion's a great game. I have a soft spot for Oblivion because I remember talking about it on Gooch and the Douchebag, which is one of those early G&DB episodes, which was some of the most fun I ever had podcasting. 10 years ago, which I can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, and I remember DB in particular trying to explain the concept of Oblivion to me. I remember they weren't really sold on it. They liked it, but it had problems. I don't know. It's just one of those games that came across my lexicon at just that right time, and so it's imprinted in my memory. But yeah, hope you're enjoying Oblivion. Great game. I never did get it for the Xbox 360. I have a 360 here, but I never tracked down a copy. Hope your life is good, man. Hope you're staying well, staying healthy, stay inside. Get your Crystal Pepsi, get your Surge, get your Chinese food, and build a fort out of blankets. Stay in the fort and watch TV, and do that for weeks on end, like a man.
No, more like
you're not allowed in my fort.
Young boy. Such a lie.
You're out of the club, kiddo. You're not allowed in my fort now.
Such a lie.
Desm 101 writes 42 minutes 55 seconds. Wow, I didn't know Brutal Doom was disliked. I found out about it a while ago. I didn't do much research on it, but I think it's a fantastic update to the original. It's cool to see the original series revived with new gameplay and seeing new people getting into the lesser-known games like Doom 64. Glad the Saturn is still working out for you, man. In an ideal world, I would have a huge stack of Saturns and send them out to all my buddies who didn't have one. That's just probably the sweetest thing I've ever heard. 49 minutes and 20 seconds. The RIA has been nearly impossible to get since it was made. Scalpers basically just buy them to resell them at obscene markups on eBay. There are a couple more Saturn ODEs on the way. One called the Satitator. How would you say that word, kiddo? Satitator?
I don't know. I haven't the darndest.
Which plugs into the back of the Saturn while the video CD expansion goes, still in beta. Or one called the Fenrir, which is similar to the RIA, but should be available soon. All right, just to put this in some context, he's talking about the Sega Saturn, which is this machine right here. See this guy?
Yes.
Most of these other machines, I can play on the computer without needing them to. Like the Nintendo 64, I can get all those games on the computer through emulation. The Saturn is special in that you can't really get that experience anywhere else for whatever reason. So the good games that came out for the Sega Saturn are consequently super rare and super unique. That's the Sega Saturn. It was an old system that came out to compete with the PlayStation when I was about your age. And the PlayStation beat it real bad. So not a lot of games came out for it. Not as many as the PlayStation. So consequently, it's somewhat of like a collector's piece now. Having a Sega, if you got a Sega Saturn, you're hot stuff. So the way I got that one was I was talking about it on the air, and Desmond just packed it up and sent it to me for free.
Well, if you're hot stuff, then I understand why there's fans in this room.
Yeah. I tried.
Little pun there.
I see that. Oh, so that was one of the things at MagFest. They had a Sega Saturn like that set up with the black machine there. They had one set up with like. So there's two. If you look at the front, there's two controller ports. See that? Like the Super Nintendo has two, and the Sega Saturn has two. Those where you stick the controllers in. Because this was before wireless controllers. The controllers all had wires. So each one of the two ports had a hub connected to it that would make like 6 ports a piece, I think, or something. And then each one of those had a controller to every port. So they had Bomberman hooked up, and there was like 12 people playing at once. All on a Sega Saturn, all with wired controllers. It was super dope. Super dope. Super dope. Super dope.
You're a dope.
Yeah, so, right. The big reveal was when we opened the machine, there was no disc in it. So he's talking about some of the ways they were able to rig it to play the game without the disc in it. So that's pretty neat. I'm wondering. I'm really weary about this, but okay. So I know modding systems is a thing, right? I've kind of stayed away from it because whenever you mod an old system, there's a chance of it breaking. But I've learned quite a bit about soldering and a little bit about electrical engineering and that sort of stuff from being into synthesizers, because I had to build some of my synthesizer parts myself from scratch. So that kind of gives me, hey, maybe I could return to this concept of modding. It doesn't seem as scary now. There's lesser expensive ones I could do. For example, the original Game Boy has a Pro Sound mod that's very popular. It's just you take a Dremel toolkit and you drill into one side of the case, just to the left-hand side of where you plug in the normal headphones, and then it's an additional audio jack. And you put in the additional audio jack, and then it has 2 leads that you just solder onto the board, and there you go. So that's a super simple mod that people... Oop, what is that?
That's your timer. I'd say the brownies are right.
That is brownie time. So yeah, I might get back into modding, but for now it's brownie time.
Give us a second. It's an outrage. I didn't get to eat any brownies.
We were just taking them out of the oven.
Oh.
What were we talking about again? Desmond 101 on the Sega Saturn and the super cool Saturn tricks. So on my little TV that I have sitting on my desk, I've got a Sega Genesis hooked up. I will replace that with the Sega Saturn, and I'll show him the Sega Saturn and some of the cool things that it can do. I think he's rolling his eyes at that, but yeah, okay, yeah, here we go. I think that is it. We've got 2 more comments that are clearly spam comments. X-Timer Tracks -sub to me says, "Big up, don't stop. I want to be friends. X3, Mr. Beast," and I'm sure it's the real Mr. Beast and not a spam account, because let's see, he's got a total of zero subscribers and 1 video. He says, "So good. When's your next video? Also, let's build each other up. : capital D." Okay. Desm, I hope your life is good. Thanks for writing in, man. Take care of yourself. Have a good week. And I think that's it for the fail bag. That is all the comments we have. It is nice to see somebody comment on the Quake Reaper Bot mod video. How's that doing, by the way? Let's see what the old views-a-rooney are. Views-a-rooney? Roozy?
I'm sorry, Dad, but if you haven't seen a dictionary lately, I think the word is views.
601 views. Not that many. Not that many for a video that's been up for 3 years. It's way better than my videos get now. Way better. Not too bad. Classic ending. Well, that's cool. Let's see what we got here. Okay, and with that, we made it an hour and 2 minutes. So whatever's brought you here, 1 hour and 2 minutes and 19 seconds into this episode of TCR. Thanks for spending time hanging out, listening to some chip tunes, talking about some scary movies and video games. I really appreciate it, because time is our most valuable currency, and isn't that true now more than ever? Because now that we have time at home, some people don't know what to do with all the additional time. It's great. It's a gift. Enjoy it. Enjoy the extra time. Don't let it get under your skin. It's a good thing. So thanks for hanging out, and I'm wishing you all the best. Stay home, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.